Hi, I'm Souzana and I'm a product owner here at Pestler. And today I'm going to show you how to configure PRTG in order to use SSO login via Azure AD. In order to enable the SSO functionality in PRTG, the first thing you need to make sure is that your TCP port for the web server is set to secure HTTPS. And to do that, you need to go to Setup, then go to System Administration, and then click on PRTG. Okay, then you need to scroll down and you go to Web Server. And then you need to find the field TCP port for web server and select Secure HTTPS server. Once you select it, then you click on Save, but make sure that this will cause a core restart. But in our case, it's already enabled, so we can go ahead with setting up for SSO. So you need to go to Setup, System Administrator, and then go to Single Sign-On. So once you get there, you get two options. So you get Disable and then Enable. You need to click on Enable. And there you see all the fields that you will need to fill in. And this information you can only get from after doing some configurations in the Azure portal. So let's take a look. So now I go into my Azure portal, and the first thing I need to do is create an app registration. So I go to App Registrations, I click on a new registration, and I need to give my registration a name. So in this case, I will name it My Registration. I will leave the other settings as they are, and in the end you're asked to enter a redirect URI. If you have one available, you can do it, otherwise you can also do it later. So I will just click on Register. And there I have it. We have now a new app registration. As you can see here on the overview page, you can see two things. So the application client ID and the directory or tenant ID. And you need both of that information to configure PRTG later. So you can already copy it and put it in a local file so that you can have it for later. Okay, so the next thing I need is to create a new client secret. So to do that, I go to Certificates and Secrets, and then I click on New Client Secret. I need to give my client secret a name. So in this case, I can give it the name SSO Secret. And you need to set an expiry date. I will just leave it to the default of 6 months, but you can set it to whatever you prefer. And then I click on Add. So here you can see a new client secret has been created, and you can also see the value of that client secret. So you need to copy it and put it in your file where you save the information. But make sure to do it immediately, because as soon as you leave the page, then the client secret it disappears and you can't see it again ever. So the next thing we need to do, once we've saved the client secret, we go to authentication. So there we go and we click on Add a Platform. Then you need to select Web. And there you need to add the redirect URIs. If you have some available, then you can do it. Otherwise, you can get the ones that are proposed in the PRTG settings page. So here you can see the available callback URLs, and you can just choose, for example, the first one and put it in this field. Then you can leave the rest as they are and click on Configure. Then you can also add the rest. So as you can see here, there are 3 available. You add the rest. Okay. And then you click on Save. All right. The next thing is you go to Expose an API. There you need to click on Add a Scope. And this is the default value that Azure suggests, and you can save and continue. And then you need to give your scope a name. So in my case, I will give it the name PRTG scope. Okay. The next setting is who can consent, and you select admins and users. So you then need to give an admin consent display name, and this I will give it admin consent SSO. Then you need to give it a description. I will just give it allows admin to use SSO. And you need to do the same thing for the user. So in this case, I will say user consent SSO. And also give it again the same description. Okay, so then I click on Add Scope. And here you can see I have created a new scope. So the next and last step for the Azure part is we need to go to Manifest. And there you go to Access Token Accepted Version, and you change this value to 2. Then you click on Save. And that's the configuration you need in the Azure portal. So now let's take a look at PRTG. We now need to configure PRTG with the information that we got from the Azure portal. So the first thing you need to do is set the configuration endpoint. So here you can go to our online knowledge base article in the field configuration endpoint, and you can get the URL. So you can just copy it into PRTG, and you can replace the tenant ID with the tenant ID from the Azure portal. So I will quickly do that. Okay, and then I can click on Load Configuration, and you can see that the next 4 fields have been automatically filled. The next thing you need to fill in is the scope. And the way you fill that in is with the following structure. So you need to put in these words first, so OpenID, profile, email. Then you put in your scope that you have created in the Azure portal. So you can find it in Expose an API under scope, so you can just copy the value. And then you enter the word offline_access. The next thing you need to fill in is the client ID. And then the client secret. Then you leave the rest as you are, unless you want to enter your own endpoint. But otherwise, you can just select all the callback URLs. And if you want to test if this configuration is working, you click on this button, Test Single Sign-On Authorization Endpoint. And as you can see here, authorization endpoint returned OK, which means that everything is working. So I will just quickly close this and click on Save. So there's one last thing we need to do. So we need to go to User Groups, and we need to create a new user group. So I will name my user group Azure SSO. Actually, I will, yeah. And then I will leave the rest of the things as they are, and I will go to Azure Directory or Single Sign-On Integration, and you need to click on User Sign-On Integration. And here you see that you need to enter your SSO group access claim, which is the name of the scope that you have given your, which you have configured in the Azure portal. And in our case, it was PRTG_scope. Then you click on Create. And now let's give it a try. So if we log out and we remove the credentials and click on Login with single sign-on. There we go. We have now logged in with single sign-on, and you can already set up this account to use our various sensors. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If so, please like and subscribe. If you have any new topics or new things you would like us to do a tutorial about, please feel free to put it in the comments. If you need help with PRTG, you can contact our support at our website. Have a nice day and thanks for watching.